Yes.
And close your eyes and feel into the moment and feel into your heart center. This is where you vibrate from, where creativity is spawned in your thoughts of love and the way that you manifest. See your electromagnetic field of the heart emitting 12 feet in circumference, like a white light of orb in composition around your entire body, spanning 12 feet, and ascend up to your brain and see your brain where the processing center, the hard drive, the processor of your information and creativity stemming from the heart. Imagine this orb of white light, electromagnetic field emitting 3 feet in circumference in the front and back around both sides of your body. And then see your crown and the silver cord stretching up to the sun, anchoring you, tethering to the sun, the male energy, the divine male energy. And then there's a golden cord from your heart descending down through the building, through the earth, the water table, down to the core of the earth. Tether yourself in grounding to Mother Gaia, this divine female energies. Today we will draw on balance and love and the shadow side of all that we speak of. We are in a safe place. We call on our guides and ancestors and angels to guide us through this process with love unconditionally. So it is, shall it ever be. Aho.
Amen.
Okay, okay, we got a few people. So here we go. Hello. We've got a couple of blank screens, and just as a kind, friendly reminder, I know we look fabulous because we're prepared for this, but I would like the opportunity to look people in the eyes as we do this session. I would love to see you. And that way, if you generate questions, it's the energy is visual and we're drawing on all of the senses. And so that visual is so important since we have the visual cortex in our eyes. And so I would love to see your face, to see your beauty as we dive into the realm of spirit and the source, which we are one. And so if you would be so kind to show your face, that would be absolutely amazing. It is my request. And thank you, Hillis, for that. And so, if you're out gardening, Chris, then you could put on your face too. We don't mind. This is the no judgment zone. I am presenting to you today Keisha Littman. She's my OD, my original daughter. And
Hello.
so Keisha and I are going on about, what did we decide? 18 years of co-creation. And so I've asked her to join me today. I like to speak to the divine male and female energies within all of us because we are, in fact, carrying and living as an individuated part of the source with both divine female and male energies, which make us whole and complete. And I would say that today is kind of a conversation of how the imbalance of the divine female and male energies play a major role in how we navigate in our lives, how we manifest in our lives, how we manifest in our relationships. I know from a personal position as growing up without a mother figure that that left like a profound impact on me to where even though in the 80s I was tuned into both male and female energies, I knew that I was. I knew from my inception, and my family could tell you this too, that I was operating pretty balanced. But because I had a male role model only, that drove an integrity and strength in me that was aggressive. I don't know why it makes me feel emotional. You know, oh, I'm speaking to the imbalance of the male energy. So sometimes when we think we're balanced because we put on makeup and we dress beautifully and we feel that sense of female energy and male energy within us, we are being guided by things that are more unconscious because of our upbringing. So I know that because of my upbringing, no matter how pretty I looked, I could easily tap into the aggressive, dominant, protector male energy, and it didn't always serve me. It got me in a lot of trouble. So it took a long time for me to balance that. What I learned is that it wasn't about me being androgynous or putting on makeup or curling my eyelashes like I did today, right? That's my vanity and that's sacred to me. And so, really, what I'm speaking to is like finding through our emotional guidance system, our intuition, when are the times when we're drawing on the masculine energy? When are the times we're drawing on the nurturing, soft, beautiful, divine energies within ourselves? So if we find ourselves imbalanced, we can make a direct target towards when am I using my powers appropriately or inappropriately? And I can speak to that place of imbalance to where the first part of my life was very violent because even though I was wearing the makeup and so on and so forth and being androgynous, when someone would ridicule me or call me a negative name, I would react fully into the fire of my dominant male energies, and it was a very violent time in my life, and something that also. So by purging this energy, it's bringing up tears because those are energies that we hold inside, and then when we then allow the energies to be released, usually it doesn't overflow. So I like to call it tears of joy, just so I could put a smile back on my face, because this is about healing the trauma that we don't, the unseen trauma that we don't realize that we have that could be trapped in our energy field, in our electromagnetic energy field, our aura, and in our chakras. We're not going to get into that, but I did a whole outline on chakras, personality types, and how we can dive into that. This is the first of the Ascension Sessions, and this is the year of Ascension, right? So let's get to the nitty gritty of, right? The complaining that we're all capable of. And a lot of us post election have really found ourselves off path. we have found ourselves like really diving into the male dominant energy, no matter what your assigned gender is or what you've assigned it as yourself. Remember, you've got the male and female energies. And so, what are you drawing on currently? Right? You're feeling so feminine these days and light and nurturing. Are you nurturing your friends and family and the planet with your words and the way you operate from the heart center? Are you nurturing me time and mindfulness within yourself so that you're looking at your behaviors? Are you looking at your imbalances? Are you looking to nurture those parts of you that feel imbalanced? So we're going to get into that. It's really important right now because I don't think anybody listening has not felt anger or rage, or we're going to talk about the emotional guidance system and then the emotional scale too, and how to get back to a place of just feeling ease within our body, mind, and alignment with the soul. So I also talked to Keisha yesterday, and this is why I love the co-creation of relationships so much because I invited Keisha yesterday. And I was actually telling Hillis that within like 5 minutes on the phone, Keisha and we didn't know what Keisha would talk about, but we started talking about a personal story, side note, and then perception. And then we got into like, when you're looking out through the eyes of Source, you're looking from your inner being out. So I perceive myself as I do,
Mhm.
but the outer world views me in a completely different way. And it's a way I could never amount to, I could never relate to, and I never wanted to try to or be politically correct about. Period. It's impossible for us to really align to what other people think of us. And so I relate this to the news. Your perception of the reality that you're filtering through your belief system by watching the news is yours and yours individually. So today is a safe space, most of all, because this is a place where I want to open up dialogue to talk about, like, how do I feel because of what I'm watching and what I've taken on and what I believe to be true and what I believe to be untrue. And then when we get into the news, secondhand information, then we get into social media, unfiltered news, which could be third-hand information. Like it gets so convoluted, and we're actually filtering this through our emotional guidance system, and we're either adhering to what the signals through intuition are telling us, negatively or positively, or we're not. And so let me tap into my notes. And so, everyone that's there, if you would be so kind to show your face, I'm going to keep asking you.
Um, is my
Yes, Keisha.
Jury, are you here? I don't know. I invited my friend, but
Hi,
no,
Jerry.
Yes, I'm there. Hi,
she's working, but she said she's gonna be.
There
I'm
are there
listening.
are permission slips for those who cannot show their face. I totally get it, but I do want to see your mug because
Okay,
like
show your face real quick. I'm kidding. Um, we
right.
just um we just had celebrated my husband's birthday last night, so we a little spirits, some spirits last night.
Good. Well, we're going from spirits to the spirit realm today.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to go into my notes now because I want more than anything, I touched on some of the things we're going to be talking about and the magic that happened between Keisha and I yesterday as we magically, deliciously, just by talking about perception, she said, "Oh, I have like an entire life coaching segment on perception." And so we're going to go through that at one point, and we have a lot to talk about. My notes are spinning, so this little biatch better open. And I want to keep it real. I want you, as we go through this, to be able, and I may be looking on my phone because I'm going to see if anyone is tuning in, asking questions. There's also a chat room. Keisha, want to describe that and how people can chat
Yeah. So
with
on the
questions?
bottom of the screen, you can go and click on that, and then any chats you want, any questions you might have, I'll just say hi real quick. Please feel free to chime in anytime. If there's something that you want to ask during this conversation, we can revisit that at the end. And if there's any links that Rocky might have for any links or documents or anything that you want to share at the end, we can always put it there.
Yep. Yep. So if you're not seeing the toolbar at the bottom, mouse over it, no matter what device you're on, and then it will appear. Because I know with some devices it's invisible until you go down to the bottom of your screen. I think maybe on the phone is maybe at the top sometimes. Who knows?
Thanks, Chris. Chris says he's sending my face through the ether. I'm planting some palms whilst listening. Thank you.
Yeah,
Oh,
I already knew that, right? I spoke to that. So, but I'm glad that you're here. My notes aren't opening, so I'm going to go into my backup notes and we're going to dive into the law of attraction. So, again, today is called Ascension Sessions, Volume 1, and the law of attraction basics. Does anyone know what the law of attraction is? Yes or no? Period. In the chat section. Is Renee here? Is my sister here? Is Teresa watching? Michelle listening? I want to make sure you are all here. I'm speaking directly to you. And there's Renee. Boom.
yes.
From
Just
Renee.
you could put yes or no in the chat.
Yeah,
Law of attraction.
so we just had Renee join. So if you have know what the meaning, I'm going to rephrase my question, of the law of attraction is, yes or no, right? So the law of attraction, simply put, is like attracts like. Okay, we're done. Thank you so much for joining us, right? But there's so much more depth to that because a lot of people believe that the law of attraction, so that which is likened to attracts like. So isn't that beautiful? We all know what manifesting is, right? Yes. So isn't that amazing? When you decide, I'm going to start saving money, I'm going to invest in a new car, right? You imagine the red BMW that you've been dreaming of your whole life, and you save the money. You get to that threshold of the manifestation, and you go to the dealership, you go through the process, and you're so happy that you've done good with your credit, and they give you a loan, and then you buy the car or you pay cash. And you're so excited, and you're driving away with that new license plate, and you're like, did this. I deserve this. That is the law of attraction and your creative ability to manifest in full action, right? So that's all we seem to look at the law of attraction is that one-dimensional way. Like, yeah, I'm all that. I manifest this. But when like attracts like, and your attention is on negativity, for instance, the news, and then you get all bent out of shape and you minimize your frequency and your energy field, then I think a lot of us have a hard time taking responsibility that I put myself in a negative space and I manifest it because I'm such a creative, wonderful manifester. And that's why I came here. So today, more than anything else, it's about recognizing the balance or imbalance in what you're manifesting. So if you're watching the news right now and you're pissed off, when you manifest, it creates momentum. If you are looking at and talking about or thinking about a subject for more than 17 seconds, right? Right? It starts to manifest into your experience and becomes part of your frequency. You match the frequency, and now you've moved from the frequency of love, that's 98.7 Soul FM, you've gone to 92.3 anxiety, fear frequency. So the depleting of the electromagnetic field that surrounds us is that thing that's in the ethers. So someone forgot to tell you when you thank, Source, God, Allah, Buddha, Jesus, you fill in the blank for your belief system, when you do the thanking of the water and the air and the fire and the earth, you think of all of those elements that are of the divine planet we live on. And then no one told us about the ethers, the unseen, because we've been driven by a male dominated society for hundreds of years, um, that forgot and got so analytical, so masculine, and so scientific that if I can't touch it and feel it, then it doesn't exist. So the reason why I'm a spiritualist is because a spiritualist is the blending of spirit and science. And we're seeing more than ever now the advancement of quantum physics and quantum entanglement, where there is a divine connection between everything. So, how can we say we're one and then separate science from spirit, right? Those are the ethers, the unseen energies and frequencies that we are made of and that we are connected by. So, I don't know if I should stop for questions yet. If there's any questions, put them in the thread there and I'll address them as they come. But it's really important that we start wrapping our head around like what we're manifesting. Who are the people that when you walk out the door and you go to the store, do you walk into the store and you're like, good morning, hi, good morning, hi, have a beautiful day, hi, hi, right? Or do you walk into the store like, disconnected, not engaging, feeling that you love animals more than people? That's a good one and a big one with a lot of people I know. Like, how connected are you? And so that is the evidence of your manifestation in relationships. And we cannot live without relationships. We are put here, no matter how many times you tell yourself, I'm happy being alone. That's not sustainable. That's the male energy stepping in front of you and presenting that sign that reads EGO. And that means I'm temporarily using my ego to convince myself that I'm happy alone. If we were meant to be alone, guess where we'd be? We'd be back to source in that omnipresence of oneness from which we came. But we are an individuated part of the source. So we're here to blend and love and be in relationships so that we co-create thought, mind, and life. Wrap your head around that when you
I'd
say
like,
you want to be alone. Yes, Keisha, do you want to add to that?
yeah, I'd like to talk about the law of attraction and some examples of like what I've seen. So my mom died 2021, and the I always saw like during that month, I always saw 444 and rainbows. And it was when I had a thought about the struggle, or not struggle, but just the pain maybe that I was feeling, and like wanting to know if she was there. And I'm probably gonna cry. Um, but it was in the moment
Okay.
of yeah, I'm gonna be honest, my feelings. It was in the moment of like I just needed to know that she was with me. And then I'd always see like 444. And I never saw 444 before. And then I looked up the angel number and it was like, I think my angels are, I'm not sure specifically what 444 meaning is, and someone can tell me. But I think it's about your spirit or someone being there for you, or you're on that path, or you're supported. And then rainbows. And so whenever I have a thought of I'm feeling down or I need that push and encouragement, there's a rainbow appears out of nowhere and I know it's her. So I feel like that's my law of attraction with my mother, my spirit, um, and the connection I have. So if there's any other examples that anyone else has or wants to share, thought I would just let you know and share.
Yeah, I'm harassing people to get them to show up right now on my phone, but Keisha, you reminded me of I was in Hawaii 2 weeks ago, and then Keisha and I were in a crystal store, and what did I do with the crystal? Anyway, it's over there. So I picked up a dragon crystal, and I said, "Oh, my mom created dragon or blah, 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 collected dragons." And then I turned it around and the price was 2222. And then that's her birthday was yesterday, the 22nd. And so then we were like, wow. And then we get to the counter. Keisha grabs a piece of mica, this beautiful big slab of mica, the one they crush up and make eyeshadows. And then she goes to the counter and she says, excuse me, I can't find the price tag on this. And then the lady's like, yeah, the price is there. No, it's not. And then Keisha goes, 4444. And then the lady turns it around and then she shows us the price tag and it was $44.44. So know that you're in a relationship physically and in the ethers I speak of. Know that you are divinely connected no matter what you're thinking or what you were taught. And the Ascension Sessions, I just gave you the purpose of why I created this and where we're going with this. Because if you went to school of sameness, like I did, I failed there because you are not that one source anymore. You're an individuated part of it. You should be treated individually. You should know that you're individual. You should allow yourself to be individual. And you should raise your kids like they're individual. And so I'm not a big advocate of public school because they teach every single child the same exact thing. So I've segued off there and I'm going to get back to the law of attraction. And let's talk about the reason why we came here and the contrast that we face, right? If we didn't have contrast, like people getting on our nerves, the politicians, religion, the best friend, and our mother, right? All of the relationships, if we didn't have the contrast, it reminds us that we're individual. And then we have this thing called unconditional love. And most of us think we cannot attain that, right? We weren't taught that. If you grew up in religion, you were taught you were a sinner, right? That's just a form of manipulation and control that the powers that be want to keep you in place, in line, behaving like a good citizen, right? So know that you're already a good citizen. Know that you are already loved unconditionally by Source. And then believe in trust that that is why you're here and who you are. And then with that contrast, it gives you an opportunity to practice the law of attraction because when you're in your good, happy space, and then someone says one thing that just sets you off, this is the trigger of contrast. And it gives you an opportunity to either match their frequency, ooh, right? The downer, the Debbie Downer part, or to match the frequency of unconditional love, or to not take on those energies, right? Or find ways to find gratitude in each moment to maintain the frequency that you're on. Driving is the best contrasting practice situation, right? Because, and this is called segment intending as part of the law of attraction, because when you're in your home and you, let's say you meditated or you didn't, or you just woke up and felt good that day, or didn't, or however, whatever frequency you're in, and then you're in your house and you're like, I feel good today. And then you walk outside and then you see that grump, boom, you've changed segments. Do you see that? And then you get in the car and now you're in another segment. So you have to know that you're developing different segments throughout the day. You are literally operating on billions of different segments throughout the day, billions and trillions and billions. Our reality, you know, when someone says the reality, it's really just a dream, and then you watch The Matrix and so on and so forth. Well, there's so much truth to that. Your life is literally unfolding and changing. It's like the reel of film, where each moment in time is your reality. And as you think and process with the processor, the brain, you're developing the creativity through the heart center. Your heart center is emitting an electromagnetic frequency spanning 12 feet around the body in white light energy, right? And then this is your energy source of all that you create and are of, right? But we're taught that the brain is the point of attraction, when it indeed is the processing of what funnels and ascends up through the heart to the lower mind. And through the Ascension Sessions, I want to teach you how to get from the lower mind, that analytical mind we deal with every day, to the higher mind, the mind of source or the collective consciousness. So when you're creating, right, or you're loving, you start to elevate into the higher mind. Do you ever have thoughts when you go into the store and you just went to pick up bread, but then you have this impulse that wasn't like you thinking, but it's you, and you say, I want to get organic. Like I heard that's better for me. I'm thinking about my health, right? You've tapped into the higher mind. And since you're processing this billions of times throughout the day, you have such good leeway. So when the contrast comes to you and pisses you off or not, know that you have that opportunity to be forgiving and easy on yourself. You're processing these things through the heart center and through the mind. And so you have that database of information to draw on. And then let's talk about if you have any questions, put them in the chat. Go down to the bottom panel, mouse over the bottom of your screen, and you'll see the chat there. And I want to know questions you have, because I'm streaming and talking, and I want to know if you need to interject and need more clarity on things. And let's talk about the emotional guidance system and then how we actually navigate through this tunnel, right? So we're divinely guided through our emotions. It's a little bit difficult to navigate sometimes because we were taught the male dominating energy wants to say, boys don't cry, right? There's an example of how we've been conditioned so to be imbalanced and to not feel. But when we tap into our emotional guidance system, aka our intuition, then we know that if we either feel negative emotion or positive emotion, there are only two, then we know if we're on path. Then we know if we're in that frequency that's good or bad. And we know how to act from that. So, what I say to everyone who's listening, just slow down the things that you're doing. or pause if you feel that you're going to create a instant reaction rather than a response. Because when you just give yourself, you just slow down a little. And then when someone cuts you off on the freeway, literally and figuratively, um, you give yourself an opportunity to develop a response, and it's always going to be more enlightened than your knee-jerk reaction. And you're being triggered moment to moment. Those billions of thoughts and processing that's happening throughout the day, you have the opportunity to do this practice through the contrast that you're experiencing around the world, right? The good or the bad. And then your emotional guidance system is your indication of how you're feeling about that and how do you want to respond. So, do you get that? Get it? Got it? Good. So I want you to use this. I want you to just really take this into your heart center and decide today that there's a lot of contrast going on the planet right now. And if you're in the United States, it's almost the epicenter of contrast. And you either are going to join that frequency, boo, and you're going to crash at one point because you have a natural propensity to be happy, to always return to your safe place, to your place of ease, to your heart center, to the unconditional love of Source. You don't have a choice with that one, but you do have a choice how to navigate this along the way to get back to that. So, do I see a note there? If anyone wants to share, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you, Keisha. Okay, Keisha, wanna chime in if you do? That's great. If not, the next point is, living with fear or pain, right? Pain, the extension of fear. Yeah. And then anxiety is elevated fear. So, like, what is the state of your body as we're talking today? Things to think about. What is the state of my mental health? What is the state of my physical health? Because if I'm a manifester of my reality, and today's a good opportunity to take responsibility, right? Not just for the red BMW that you allowed yourself, the good things, but also it's about like giving the graces. I've been manifesting negative things. I've been like right on the borderline, and I just want to get to like a good place to where I'm manifesting this balance in my life that feels so good right now that I'm seeing different people show up when I'm driving on the freeway. People that like stop and let me go in. It's gonna make me emotional. Tears of joy for the tears that I've been holding back. When I think about like all the graces and opportunities of positivity that are out there, tears of joy that I know that I could navigate my car in a way to where I can let someone go in front of me and give them some graces, right? And I could do that through every part of my life. I can go into the store, and I practice this every time I go in the store. Hello, hi. If I notice that someone is nice, I said it at Circle K the other day. I go into one that's over here. They're not, they're lackluster, period. Observation, I'm not judging them. Observation. And then if I go to the Circle K over there, they're wonderful. So like attracts like. The relationships over there, they're fostering kindness and ease. And I walk in and I said, I love coming to this store. You all are so nice here. And maybe you don't understand it. I told them, you've like fostered like such an easy, like real wonderful energy here. And they were so like surprised and happy. you've got to tell people and give them their props when they deserve it. And you've got to give that to yourself as well along the way so that you can receive that from others. That's what relationships are about. It's not just, am I going to find a lover and have sex and get along with them and have a baby and buy a home? Those are more one-dimensional ways of thinking about relationships. The relationships are with you, they're with the water, the air you breathe, the planet, the animals, the mineral kingdom, the universe, your connection to source. And if you're not concerned about what your frequency is right now and you're cutting people off and you're pissed off about the president, you've cut yourself off from your divine connection to your source. So it's hard. That part feels hard. Woo! I feel for you. I turned off the news on November 6th. So I don't have tears for that. I don't have anger for that. It no longer is part of my daily ritual and responsibility. So I feel easy about it. And I know that there's things going on. I just know that me pushing against it is not helping me and it's not helping you. So I look for alternative ways to join groups that are positive and supporting upliftment and mindfulness, like today, right? And so, pull it together, Rocky. Um, and so, yeah, but this is what, I have to be authentic with you. I want to be vulnerable so I can show you that this is a quality that we all share and it's okay. Okay? So, boom. I talked about everything. And then the most important thing we have to know, like, if we've gotten off of our path and we've gotten to the elevated fear and anxiety, those things have to, everything you're focused on is building momentum in your experience. So it's not, I won't say it's going to be easy to get right back on track, like and make a paradigm shift or a, um, a quantum leap, right? That sounds great, and you could break it down in quantum physics, and it's a magical scientific phenomenon, right? But when it comes to real life issues, you've built momentum in a certain sector in your life designed through your emotional guidance system, and you either feel bad or you feel good. And when you're operating in good, you manifest more of it. And when you're operating in bad, you manifest more of it. It's like a snowball. And when it's coming down the mountain, it cannot be stopped instantly. But through this practice of mindfulness, of just slowing down, pause, think of a response rather than a reaction. I do have to say, if you're a Gemini, you're the master of this because you're not a upfront type person that reacts instantly. And I don't know, like I'm seeing the perception, and now let's get into perception of the archetype of a Gemini as the one who slows down and doesn't react with a knee-jerk reaction. There is a shadow side to every astrological sign as well. So I'm sure somebody knows a Gemini that just is mouthy and reacts negatively. But on the whole, I've noticed that you have a good way, and this is like why I attract so many Geminis, because I grew up reacting to everything negatively because that was the environment that I grew up in with a male dominated energy. My role model had zero divine female characteristics and didn't show them to me. And I had to learn that in the world. Even my sisters, I think they may be listening, they can validate this. Like, we weren't taught that. And so I'm speaking like right to you, to your heart, because you're still alive and you still have an opportunity. And I think it's part of, our soul contract, our family contract. I wrote about it yesterday on my Facebook post about my mother. We were not put in this life to experience that matriarchal mother, divine feminine role. So all of my sisters are butch. I'll just say it. None of them have this prissy feminine quality. And I hope this helps you understand your role and your responsibility to yourself, because I know that there are softer sides to you because I see them reveal themselves sometimes, like Renee with the cats, and then Michelle when she does her hair and makeup. You know, I see a little tug of war with that within both of you. That's because we weren't exampled that. So we've found our way along the way, and that's good, and so we're still growing, we still have opportunity. So and so talking about that perception, I want to let's see if I can wrap up. Does everyone have a good understanding of the law of attraction? Right, I'm just giving the basics today to really, like, the law of attraction. I'll summarize: like attracts like, that which is likened to attracts like. So we are navigating through our life through this emotional guidance system, aka our intuition, and we're that's our indication if we're feeling negative or positive emotion with our interactions in our relationships, at our job, with what we are going to manifest, with our physical health, with our thoughts, and with our experience. So today I'm asking you to look deeper into that. Look to your inner being, right? Inside, rather than read a book or go to a building to look at sameness or lessons that others are teaching you. Today, I can't teach you anything. I'm showing you tools that work. And then, because you're individually guided, it's up to you to pick, like, what feels good. Use the emotional guidance system to your advantage. Like, if I've said something and it triggers like negative emotion in you, through your belief system and what you're filtering through that, that's not in your awareness right now. So I say, take a step back and then take pieces of it, like something that works and feels like positive emotion when you look at it. Okay. So, yeah, and then segment and tending. So you think you got the law of attraction thing down, and then you get in your car, and then you forgot that. So what happens, well, like when you're driving, you're welcome, Karen, I love you. When you're driving, and then you're in happy space, right? And then someone cuts you off, and you're like, I thought I was in my happy place. Well, know that you're a work in progress, right? And so there's still a bit of the negative emotion in your vibration. Because remember the snowball effect I talked about? You you have to keep practicing and forgive yourself. Give yourself that ease as you roll into these new energies, new mannerisms, new ways that you're treating yourself, new ways that you're allowing, yourself to be treated, right? And then off the news. How is that serving you? How's it serving your good? You say you want good, you want happy. I know it because you have a natural propensity to go back to your joy. That's what you do if you just step out the way. Oh, I mean, turn off the TV. Watch Gaia. Gaia Network will give you the things and echo everything I'm saying today from many different perspectives so that you could gather more insight as to how this navigation to good works for you, and you could create it in your way. Okay? So, and now let's talk about perception, because I'll go back to, you know, the way I perceive the news now that I haven't been on it since November 6th. So I'm going to be honest. I'm going to tell you through my personal experience, I had got involved in politics. I had gotten angry, right? And then I'm smart enough, I honor myself enough that when November 6th hit and I saw the results, I surrendered. I had seen how it affected me personally, how angry I was, how unhappy I was with myself, my actions, what I had taken on. Boo! Went my frequency. It was on the floor. A big wake up call for me. So if you're experiencing a wake up call right now based on the perception of what you're viewing in the outside world and what you're funneling through your belief system, right? A belief is a thought that you keep thinking. It's infinitely changing, right? Like, you're not the same person I knew in high school, or 10 years ago, or 5 days ago. I believe that you've changed. I believe that you've evolved and grown because I know it's inevitable. So, my perception of you keeps changing. I choose not to perceive you in the way that I did at your worst. I can observe these things now and not make judgments about them. So perception is everything. And I want us all to get to a point to where the perceptions that we have are based around observation, and we know that it's ever changing, right? Because if we take observation personally, it becomes judgment. And we start going, oh, hell no. Who told her she should be wearing that outside the house? And it happens so easy that we digress. So let's think about our perception. And then I'm going to turn this over to Keisha. Does everybody see Keisha? Great. Earlier we were going, I don't know why I thought of this now. Um, we were finding a way to get the co-hosts going. But Keisha, take it away.
Hello.
Thank you. Thank you
Hi.
guys.
Thank you. And thank you for sharing the what our perceptions are and what that means to us. And I will go into perceptual position. So I'm a life coach, master practitioner, and I got certified through Global NLP back in 2015. And this exercise or perception of what I've learned has really helped me to move forward with me being stuck in that one position myself when I look at something and I only see it through my eyes. So I would love to share this with you, and we can work on some exercises even for the next time and like go in depth with each other on this. So perceptual positions, it's one of the most powerful things that you can do for yourself. You can make amazing shifts in your life, great realizations, and if not, it becomes difficult, right? You get stuck in like, I only see it this way. It's my way or the highway, right? It's that quote, my way or the highway. You have blinders on something and you only are focused, you're strongly focused on that one perception. So there's a few positions you can be in. The first perceptual position would be yourself. Okay. So think about yourself looking at that, looking at a given situation from your own viewpoint, what you see, what you feel, what you hear, and what you believe. You're using all your kinesthetics, your olfactory, what maybe you smell or taste, what you see, and then how it relates to you in each situation. So this is a sense as a fully associated position, if that makes sense. The advantage to that is in this position, we can stand up for ourselves, right? We can believe, we can do anything that we put our mind to. You know, we have that really strong belief in ourselves, and we can pursue these interests basically. The other advantage or disadvantage to that would be spending too much time in that thought process, uh, where you could go down the rabbit hole of like not having that empathy. You're not able to assess these things or the wants or needs. You don't have it's an inability to look at a given situation from that neutral viewpoint. So then that's when you start reacting to things, and then you take that reaction and then maybe you get into a fight, or you just blow it out of proportion because you, in your thought process, in your belief system, you're like, no, this person is not treating me the way I should be treated because of whatever this belief is in your mind, right? So that would be your first perceptual position, yourself. Does that make sense? You can give me a thumbs up. Okay. All right. And I'll make sure this all makes sense at the end. So the second perceptual position would be the other person. So if you're in a conversation, it's you yourself, you're talking to someone else, it's that other person. So looking at a given situation from someone else's point of view, as if you step into their shoes and look through their eyes. This is so huge and so major. You can think about a situation that had happened many years ago, maybe yesterday, maybe even today, and maybe you didn't quite believe the other person's whatever they're saying to you, and you're like, oh, I don't agree with that. Or you know, maybe it's like taking out the laundry and like you ask this person to help you, and then they pause for a moment because they were cleaning up the kitchen, and then you're so upset because like I needed that to do, you needed to do that now. So really you're letting that reaction, you're allowing this reaction to happen, right? So you're looking at that person as if they're not doing what you wanted them to do. So in the second perceptual position, you want to step into their shoes, into their eyes, and see why that upset you, right? So you're understanding what you're seeing, what you're feeling, what you hear, believe, and think what he or she would do in each situation. If that makes sense, let me know. The advantage to that is when you're spending, again, let me reiterate that, is spending that a good advantage of that is spending time in the second position can be useful when you need to understand someone else. Getting an overview of a situation, understanding someone's viewpoint or position in an argument or discussion. So it helps to predict responses of others and ramifications of certain decisions or reactions, like I just shared. Disadvantage is too much time in the second position to prevent you from being in touch with meeting your own needs and wants. Okay. Then we have the third perceptual position, which is the observer. So you got you, yourself, the second person who is the other, and now we have the third, which is just an observer. So looking at a given situation from an observer's position is if you are a third party watching yourself and the other person. So like a movie, right? You can create that visualization and movie of that situation that happened. Put yourself outside of that situation, and then you become the observer. And this is indeed disassociated, right? The advantage to this, which is a huge advantage, is you're spending time in that third position. It's beneficial because you have a neutral point of view. You're not in yourself, you're not in the other person's perception. You are neutral, outside, observing. And just visualize yourself that in that observer position. So it's a good position to take during emotional situations. When it's so heated and when you know, like you really want to say how you feel and you know someone else is feeling, you feel that energy, just realize that, oh, I got to get out of this. I don't want to escalate this even more. I don't want to react. Let me get into this third perceptual position. Okay. when you're in that third perceptual position, if you don't, the disadvantage would be you're spending too much time detached in how you feel. You're disconnected, like Rocky had mentioned earlier. You're disconnected from you, yourself, and the other person because, yeah, you don't. Go
Can I
ahead.
interject right there
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
on how this is the perfect time to tap into your emotional guidance system. It's happening naturally. So as that observer, this is what I'm saying, slow down. This is what I'm saying, pause. When you pause, you naturally, it's kind of like an out of body experience. You elevate the energy from the lower mind to the higher mind perspective that is neutral and not attached to the negative emotion. So continue, please. So I want to
Absolutely.
draw in the law of attraction is in effect right there.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, and then that's also stepping into a fourth perceptual position, and then also a fifth. So a fourth will be then a group. You know, if it's a group or combined people, a whole company, this is another perception of allowing us to understand what the group needs or wants. So, you know, as the observer, you're in the first and second, and then now you're the third person as the observer. But then step outside of that, there's a group, right? A group of people. Then you're observing that. And then, as Taraki said about, you know, spiritual, it's a fifth perception position where you can get the perspective of your higher self, your source, your guide, your God, your akua, as we call it in Hawaiian, your God. It's that spiritual or the universe perception. So, which perception are you tapping into? And how can you use these perceptions to allow yourself to understand heart center, where you're coming from, and how to believe or be that belief for yourself and where you want to attract? Do you want to come from a space of hurt, anger, um, always looking at you as the winner, or you are the one that I'm the right person. I always have the right answers. I know. Or are you coming from a space of, let me go outside to my third perception, fourth or fifth, and let me see that outside of this, you know, conversation, and let me be the better person that I can be by stepping into that mindset. And I'll give you an example of something that I had struggled with for a long time. Um, I'm a makeup artist, you know, in this industry. There's a lot of cutthroat, there's a lot of ego. And I'm so grateful to have had Rocky as my mentor since 2007, teaching me so many great things about how to love and believe in yourself. And um, I don't remember when the situation happened. It may have happened before I went into life coaching, but I was on set with another makeup artist. And the reason why this sticks to me so much is because it resonates with my core values. And so, another thing that you can also be reminded, and why we get stuck in certain things, is because if you know your core value and someone doesn't align with that core value, you will be stuck for a very long time because maybe my value is ethics or trust or kindness, and their value is not aligned in that. And so you can get stuck not seeing the bigger picture, right? So in this example of what happened to me is that this person and I worked on a shoot together and was very controlling, and maybe that's their personality, but that person was very controlling and wasn't co-creating with me. So not having a partner to co-create in the space of creating can be, well, for me, it was very stressful, and also it hit my core value, and it made me feel that I wasn't good enough. And so I took that personally, and I was stuck in my first perceptual position in myself until I realized how to work with this exercise. I was able to see as an observer in my third perceptual position outside of it and say, okay, well, what could I have done differently? How could I have handled that situation to not let it affect me in that way where I ended up not liking this person for a very long time or shutting this person off because I never wanted to work with her again. But that's not a great thing to do, right? You don't want to, I didn't want to always come from a place of hurt or anger anytime I saw this person. So understanding the things that I could have done differently made me realize, like, well, it wasn't about me. It was about how she handles her situation or herself in that situation. And moving forward, I know what I could do better and and how I would want to be treated and who I wanted to attract, what clients I wanted to attract. So I really started working on the law of attraction, of attracting the right people in the situations, of how I understanding myself first and foremost. So in that situation, um, maybe however many years later, learning about this exercise, it really helped me with perceptual position. This exercise helps me to move forward with everything in my life, my relationships at home, my friendships, my family, and work. And with that said, using perceptual positions can be extremely helpful in negotiating in sales and conflict and unresourceful feelings and gaining understanding in other people. It's it's just working through those. So we can also do next time we can do an exercise where we all share an example of it, or we can do a breakout session or a breakout room and we can partner up with two people and we can go through some examples that you've had before to kind of work through that. Because sometimes there's situations that you hold on to till, from maybe years ago because, oh my God, that person treated me that way. But if you want to let that go, we can work through that because this exercise can help you do that. Uh, okay. And
Amazing.
that's about
That
it.
was beautiful. Yeah. Well,
Thank you.
thank you for that. It segues into like the probably the last thing we should talk about, which is like creating by default or creating by dominant intention. And what I want to be the takeaway from this is how to create with intention, because we weren't taught that in school. If we look at the school system, they taught us the subjects that were applicable for us to go out and get a job and to fund this country and the world in a way that the powers that be see fit. So we weren't taught, by our parents, the teachers, or the politicians, how to create with dominant intention. So Keisha was speaking to like a way that we develop in relationships. So creating by default means simply being open and available for when a job calls you on the phone and you say, "Hello, this is Rocky." Yes. Yes, I'm available that day. Oh my God. I love that photographer. Yes, I want to work with him. He's on my mood board. I want to work with him. Okay, sure. What's the day? I'm available. I'll do it. Okay, thank you. I forgot to ask the rate. I really wasn't prepared for that, was I? I'm creating by default. I'm just open to receive. And so with that comes the good and the bad, right? And the good and the bad people. So the first like really good evidence of this, Keisha, what you said is like realizing it's always them, never you. But where we can take responsibility, because we can't change another person or the perception they see of themselves, which we would love to be able to do. But what we can do is look at, am I creating by default? I did that until the age of 30. and I thought I was happy, but I realized every role in my career that I was put in was from someone else recognizing my talent, saying, "You be good at this, come do this," and I'd go, "Okay." And I never even asked how much I got was going to get paid. And I did okay along the way until I developed anxiety. And I was so upset with myself for accepting less than I deserved for all of those years. Meanwhile, the trickery is I had fabulous roles in my career, things I really thought I was happy with. But when I started to dive into the law of attraction and decided that I could create through dominant intention, the mood board, the writing affirmations, an affirmation, a present tense statement beginning with I am. And just by making the declaration of I am is your direct connection to source. I am. And then you fill that in like I am of value. Keeping the affirmations general as well along the way so that you can digest what it is that you want to manifest. And a lot of people say, I'm going to win the lottery. And then, like 20 years later, they're still at 7-Eleven buying that ticket. I'm going to win the lottery. I'm going to win the lottery. And they get stuck in this perpetual cycle. Well, they're not being general about it. Back in the deep subconscious, they don't believe that the $1 billion could be theirs right now. So until you start to unravel the momentum that you've built by creating by default for so long, then you're going to segue into attracting the people that you work with that are loving and embracing and free and co-create and want to recognize the value that you're bringing the team, right? So while in default, you're going to experience all of the negatives and all of the positives and all of the nuances in between. So as you move forward and you're starting to get a heel on this, like think about the idea of writing down some simple affirmations like, I am loved. I am important. I am of value. I am getting ready to be ready, right? If you say to yourself, I am ready, and you second guess it, or the emotional guidance system triggers a little bit of negativity, reel it in a little bit, you know, and you could say, I'm getting ready to be ready. So give yourself those graces. Give yourself the forgiveness that you deserve so that you could walk smoothly forward and away from the negative momentum that has built up thus far. So I'm getting ready to be ready. I love that. Yep. So, do we have any questions, concerns? We would like to hear from you guys as we're in the final descent of this transportation of spirit, mind, body, and soul. We would like you to buckle up and stow away your tray table as we ascend into the final stretches of this navigation series of Ascension Sessions, Volume 1. I really look forward to continuing this talk. We're going to take the opportunity to continue this talk and grow and evolve. I want to see, the progress. When you grow, I grow, and we co-create together. So this is equally as important to me as it is that you are here with me. So I thank you for your
Thank
time and
you.
energy and for, congratulations for having the courage to show up today and to hear these words, mostly because I know that they evoke things in you. And even if you don't have questions today, you may have them tomorrow. And so we will always be here to receive them. Most of you know how to get a hold of me one way or the other. And Keisha, do you want to say any final notes as we wrap this up?
Yeah, and if there's anything that you want to discuss, like we could be, it's a fun group to have, and we could go through anything, any exercise, any talk. It's just like a great space to share with each other and know that we have this co-creation, we have this group. So let's keep moving forward and doing more of it. I love it. And then maybe we can spend some time meditating too. Yeah.
Yeah, this is just the first series of many, and we're going to take you through more manifestation practices and meditations. We'll probably I'll steal an idea from Hillis earlier, talking about sound baths, and it's all energy, and so the great thing is that we have this electric, connection of energy. And here we are. I want to remind you that this is the year of ascension. So there's an ebb and a flow to the planet, right? We're feeling the doldrums, right? We're at the bottom of the bottle, so to speak. Believe me when I say that this is about as bad as it can get on the planet. We may see things getting a little rough over this year. But if we can get 1% of the population to raise consciousness, this is when the entire echo of goodness and positivity echoes out to the universe. And this is when we see real change. So, with tears, I say there is hope in the horizons. So be strong. Like we got to be together to do this, though. We have to unify and
Mm-hmm.
help each other get through this. So this is the year of ascension because you're already starting to see there's a shift happening and a separation of energies on the planet. And they're just like the emotional guidance system. It's the emotional guidance system of the universe and of the Mother Gaia, the planet. And so with that ebb and flow, they we're seeing a separation of not only personalities on the planet but energies on the planet. So don't be surprised and don't be hurt that if you're no longer in alignment with family or friends, you know if you do watch Gaia, or you know who Bashar is, who is my favorite channel. He describes it this way, like we're already starting to see the shift on the planet where you have friends and family that you love dearly, but your thoughts are so opposing now that you're just not on that frequency anymore. Let that be okay. So what Bashar describes it as in two ways. Like imagine there's a glass partition between you and your friends and family of your past. And as time goes through this year of ascension, that you'll still see them through that window pane of glass. And you don't always have to be there trying to fix them or allow them to try to fix you, or let them be. The time of ascension is a time to go into the heart center and to work on yourself and to focus on yourself. And then when we get through this, and then the other way Bashar says it, it'll literally be like you're on two trains that are traveling down two tracks, and there will be the complainers, the negativity, and then there'll be the positivity and the people that allow themselves grace. And at one point, you'll be on that train and you'll be in that safe place. And you'll be with people who embrace change and who share love and give love. So let's look forward to that and to be together so that we can build that strength within our heart, that if we're not in alignment with family or friends anymore, that we can be okay with that. And we can hold that trust in the universe and in our own heart that perhaps as things go and evolve, that we all have the opportunity to wake up to our own good and graces, and that we will meet them once again. So, having said that, I will thank you once again for joining us, and this, I guess, will conclude our
Thank
first
you.
Ascension session. So, thank you guys. I love you.